I had to go home yesterday because I have to have a COVID test on Friday, so I have like nothing with me. So I'm quarantined at home until I get my test done. So.
All right. So, well, let's just start with what's everybody doing with the COVID situation. Let's get this out of the way first. Kim, what are you doing up in Waukon? Have you had to shut down everything?
Yeah, like our adult volleyball, we had to shut down until at least the 10th, but we basically moved it back till the start of January if we can play then. And then as far as all of our youth stuff, till the 10th for now, and then just kind of wait and see what the next set of guidelines are going to be, I guess.
Erica, what are you doing in Decorah?
We are, so obviously basketball and youth basketball, adult volleyball are not happening. We're getting ready for sort of a Thanksgiving weekend random adventure scavenger hunt type event. We basically have like 4 different activities. So one day is like a turkey trot to do on your own. There's a 5K and 1 mile loop I'll be working to map out. Another day, I just finished contacting downtown businesses. We're going to put some paper turkeys in the window. So it's kind of a turkey scavenger hunt downtown to promote those businesses that have sponsored us. Another one is sort of a 2 mile walking loop with some facts about turkeys and trivia along the way. And then the last one is in one of our newer parks, Carlson. We'll have some signs up with different activities to kids to do on the way, just interactive stuff, or adults too, if they're there. So that's the biggest thing sort of coming up here, pivoting directions with the new regulations.
Cool.
So hopefully I have that information out by the end of the day today or early tomorrow.
Callie, you got anything going on in Sumner?
No, not really. We don't, like, Sumner does volleyball and Fredericksburg does basketball. So I haven't heard what they're doing for basketball. I know they sent registrations out and everything, but I haven't heard what they're doing, I guess. I had some adult league stuff kind of planned, but they're not letting anyone in the schools right now. So I don't really have the facilities to do it. So I guess I'm just kind of waiting to see if they let us do anything, I guess.
West Union's kind of in the same boat. You know, all of our activities are in the schools and they're saying no. So where are you at, Jess?
So we've obviously canceled right now our adult volleyball. Right now we do women's, and so that's pushed back. Probably will be the same, like not start that back up till January, and then usually in January we start co-ed too. So I don't know if we'll be able to do both to pull it off at the same time, because a lot of the women play on both teams. All of our youth programming in that is paused. And then on the facility side of things with the wellness center, it's been kind of crazy because last week we had directive from our city. We had to put a mask mandate in at all of our public buildings. So everyone's masking while they're working out, and people either love it or hate it. Like my senior pop thinks it's great, but they're mostly walking, not getting their heart rate up. And then cancel all of our group fitness classes, starting forward on Tuesday. And then yesterday, the new proclamation came out stating we can have group fitness classes. So now we're bringing those back in. And so it's just been crazy trying to confuse all of our members, I guess. But we are going to bring those back in. We pretty much said next week, but a couple of my instructors are starting today and tomorrow. So.
Okay. Paul, what do you have going on in your neck of the woods? Paul's
I think that's Jeremy. I think it's Jeremy from Walk On.
Oh,
Jeremy, you're hiding under Paul. And he's muted. Paul, Jeremy, you're muted.
Kim, get over and tell him. Blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
Didn't hear a word you said, Jeremy.
See, he needs to be a high school referee like I am. That way I can read lips.
Kelly, can you unmute him? Or
He's not muted.
no?
I think his microphone's just not working.
Oh, okay.
Mike's not working. Okay.
Okay, well, Andy, do you have anything to add?
No, not really, I guess. I think Erica covered it, so.
Okay, well, I just
And
don't want
I-
to leave anybody out.
Well, thanks for letting me chime in. I wanted to make sure you knew I wasn't sleeping or anything, Kathy.
We didn't want you taking a nap.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not Friday yet. Kelly, can you maybe find the proclamation from yesterday? And then I know on, what day is it? Thursday, Tuesday, there was like the real proclamation on Monday at 11. And then there was a shorter version I think you saw on Tuesday you shared with the screen share that was like an expectation, like it brought everything down from 9 pages down to like 1 page,
Mhm.
which was easily readable. And I mean, I've got an interpretation from like when I was at pool school yesterday, Long Branch had a group coming in with 20. Remember the rules, no more than 15. Well, what they did was they did a divider. They had the ballroom, they did a divider for 3/4 of the wall came up. Then they had 2 screens and they split the group up into 10 each. Okay, and that in my interpretation is legit because you separate out the 2 groups by a wall, just like no different than a barrier in my mind when I go to Jethro's, Hickory Park, you know, any other restaurant in town, they're gonna have that barrier up, the plastic plexiglass between booths. So then when I went to Davenport, where I'm gonna be next week or next month, I offered that spin and their staff shot me down and said that in their interpretation, the entire room must be closed. So obviously from a businessman point of view, I don't agree with that, but it's their property and we have to abide by it.
Okay, I'm pulling this up here too.
I don't know if you guys want to look at it or not, but it's,
Is this the one you want, Steve, with the different? This is just the 3-page one from yesterday?
okay.
Or do you want the public health measures?
Well, yeah, the one that I was in Cedar Rapids and I was dealing with 2 things and I thought there was one that was just like a 1 page that told you like sporting and then just gave you like snippets of what you can and can't do as opposed to an entire verbiage, if you know what I mean. Or maybe
Yeah, that's,
is that this one?
get to my homepage. There's only a few of us on, so I feel comfortable going through my internet. You mean that one?
I don't know.
Can you see that, Steve?
Yeah,
Is that the one you were thinking of?
I could have swore I thought I saw one that looked just like that with the background of the paper, but it said like expectations. Maybe it's IDPH's expectation with bullets
I think,
rather than this.
yeah, Iowa Department of Public Health put one out.
That's what I thought, right, Jess?
Oh, I haven't seen that one.
Yeah,
Maybe Lucas
just
put that up.
it bullet pointed the main changes that are
Yes.
different from before.
Is that, Jess, is that on the IDPH website?
That's what I'm
Yeah, probably.
just,
And we're all gonna run to the website.
But then
right now.
that all came out on Tuesday and then that all changed. I mean, it all changed yesterday because that was where it was specific, like there was no dance, no gymnastics,
Yeah.
no,
that's
you know, all
what,
the sports.
That was yesterday,
what
Jess,
this
or that was
one-
Tuesday?
this was the one,
That one came out
Came
on
out Tuesday.
Tuesday and then people complained and so then they changed their mind.
yeah, I haven't seen that one. I knew there were changes made, but I have not, in pulling up the governor's. I guess I was looking at her newsroom. This is where I always pull everything off of.
What's today, 19th?
Yeah. So
Here's
this
one that's
was her,
18th.
this was the modifications. So I guess maybe is this it where you see sporting recreational, 1, 2, 3, high school? That's the modifications that were,
And this particular document's on the website, right, Kelly?
yep, this is, I always go under Governor Reynolds and then into her newsroom. Yeah, this one's
But
just. giving us
do you
full
have this posted on
proclamation.
the IPRA one?
Not this one,
Okay,
but the
There-
rest of them, yes.
There is one that was issued yesterday. It goes coronavirus.iowa.gov, and then go to proclamations, and it's listed right there. It's a 3-page gig dated November 18th, 2020.
Yeah, that's this one right here.
Yeah.
I had the 3-page.
Yeah. Because she
Yeah.
had one on the 10th, the 16th, and then yesterday.
So I'll get that one added, but other than that, everything else is up there on our homepage. So I don't know if someone finds that other bulleted one, Steve,
Yeah.
send it to me and I can get that posted.
cool. Well, thank you, Kelly, for posting all those out there so that we have easy access to all of them. That helps us out here in the
Yep.
in the sticks. So what all do you have? I mean, I know this is kind of a vague question, but what are all of your departments doing for winter activities? Do you have any outdoor activities planned? I know West Union, we are still moving forward with our Winter Fest. It's scheduled for February 6th. It's centered around our ice rink, and we will have wagon rides, and we have fireworks that night, and we've got broom ball and hockey. Still trying to get somebody to come up and demo. Oh, what did we do out in Sioux City? Council Bluffs.
Curling.
Curling, yes. Still trying to get somebody to come up and demo curling. We've got a lot of interest in that. If we have snow, we'll have a snow sculpture contest and just all sorts of things outside that people can spread out and do. So that's kind of a fun thing. We have a soup and sandwich supper that they can come, and we've got the shelter all wrapped in canvas so they can get warm, and hot chocolate and coffee. And it was fun last year. Last year was our first year, and we'll be doing it again this year. So last year we had it sooner, and we took the wagon rides through the park with all the Christmas lights, but the lights will be down. So we're trying to come up with, okay, now what are we going to do? So anybody else have winter activities going on?
I'm just
We-
wondering, I'm curious, did you not want to do it, like to take it around the lights because of like COVID stuff, or it's just the way it happened, like scheduling wise?
They wanted to have more snow so they could include a snowmobile run, cross-country skiing, that kind of thing. January, the first weekend in January, there's not a lot of snow. They thought maybe by February we would have more snow. So that was the reason why it got pushed back a month. So
Gotcha.
we'll see if it works.
Yep.
And every year is going to be a crapshoot. You know, it's you can have a lot of snow in December, and in January it can warm up, and you just never know what the weather's going to do. So
We usually have old time Christmas, like the first Friday in December. So that has completely changed this year. They're still gonna do fireworks Friday night, but we can't have like any of the in-person stuff. So it's more drive around to see the Festival of Trees and put your votes in, and just still doing that, just little things. But then we're kind of looking at doing some other outdoor stuff that we don't normally do, just because I'm afraid we're not gonna be able to do any inside stuff, because I have a feeling after December 10th, it'll probably get pushed. All these regulations will.
Yeah. I would be surprised if they went back to school after Thanksgiving. I know Upper Iowa's, they'd made that decision when they started school in August that they wouldn't have the kids come back after Thanksgiving.
Right.
They're doing all virtual until January.
I know that Iowa State is closed after Thanksgiving. Like they scheduled their semester based on ending right before Thanksgiving. But I think Iowa is continuing all the way to Christmas. I don't know what UNI's doing.
UNI is the same as Iowa State. They're ending right before Thanksgiving with the
Okay.
semester.
So I mean, the
Well, it
kids
doesn't
are
make
home.
sense to bring kids back for 2 weeks and then send them home again.
Well, what do you
No.
want? That's the Hawkeyes.
Oh.
They're not always thinking ahead like I was, like Cyclones and Panthers.
Oh, come
We're
on.
thinking of the kids.
Oh.
We're thinking of the kids, not money.
Calm down, Steve. Calm
sorry.
down.
My son's in school up in Minnesota to the 19th, but they virtually shut down everything and you can't do anything. And the mayor or the governor just canceled Thanksgiving. And so he's in a little bubble there and they're all doing good. So that's where he needs to stay.
I've had people here, should I bring my kids home for Thanksgiving? And I said, nope, leave them where they're at until they come home for the holidays. It's crazy out
Yeah.
there.
All
So
of our college staff is staying at school. They're not coming home, most of them. Usually they come home and work for a little bit over Thanksgiving, but they're all staying there so they can stay in school and finish their semesters out. And
I think that's the smart thing to do, but there I go thinking again. Do any of your communities do house decorating contests?
So I think Sumner has like a really good, they call it Accelerating Sumner. They're the ones that set up the lights in the park. And I think they're going to kind of include like a house decorating contest in their festivities this year. I actually thought about doing it through like Park and Rec, but then they said that they were going to. I was like, all right, I'll let you do it. So they, I don't know exactly how they're going to do the voting, but yeah, they're going to just have some type of contest, and I don't know that, and they have Sumner Bucks. So, and I think that's what their award will be, is like, and it's just money that you can spend only in Sumner. So kind of keeps things local. And so we'll see. I don't know exactly how it's all going to work, but
They used to do that here in West Union, and I think we need to bring it back. It was always fun to drive around and see all the different homes and how pretty they were. And again, it's something that you can do that's outside. You know, you stay in your car and you drive around, and it just kind of perks people up.
would you have them register their house, that they're
Yes.
on a list, and then go from
Yes.
there? Okay.
And what they've done in the past was, they gave awards for sections of town. You know,
Okay.
they would do this section this week, and then they do the next section, and so that way more people were given the opportunity to win.
There were a few folks on our meeting on Tuesday that talked about that, and I'm drawing a blank on, man, they put together, was it Vinton that put together a whole map and drove around, and I'm trying to remember, but I'm seeing on social media, because I friended all of our IPRA members, and lots of stuff about decking your house, and so there's a lot of good ideas out there.
I know Matt had talked about doing it in Vinton when we had that first meeting. I think it was like March or April. So
I'm pretty sure it's him. One place usually does a lighted parade where everyone gathers on the square, and the parade was going around. but they called it a reverse parade. So they were gonna have all the lights and displays set up in the park. And then the people drove around the square in their car, so no one had to get out. So that was another, just a different twist on something that kept everyone in their cars.
Mhm.
We did that for our homecoming parade this year. Like people decorated their floats or their things, they'd have it out, spaced out, and then you drove by that if you wanted to view it. So it worked pretty well. So I think it would work good for a Christmas one.
That's a great idea. We just canceled homecoming altogether and didn't have anything. But we got to play football, so that was good.
Yeah, right. How
Okay,
did Tuesday's meeting go? I didn't hop on that.
Great. We went for about 45 minutes, and that recording is up on YouTube. So if anyone wants to hop
Okay.
on that, it's short, sweet, lots of ideas shared, good stuff. So yeah, it wouldn't be too long just to click on YouTube there on our YouTube channel and play that while you're kind of working on some other stuff, get some ideas.
Okay.
We had 30, 35 or so at the most people on there, I think. So pretty good reception, I think.
I like these Zoom meetings. I mean, they're hard, but you can participate in a lot more because you don't spend so much time driving. One of the upticks of COVID.
Yeah.
Okay, so what's everybody doing for summer trainings? Has anybody even thought about that far ahead yet? Pools, baseball, softball, spring soccer.
Crickets.
Huh?
It's just cricket silence here, so.
I mean, what you plan to move forward with everything, but yeah.
When do you start all that, Jess?
Well, I mean, usually this time of year is when I start working on, well, maybe not quite now, but yeah, about now, I guess, like start working on my flyers and all that stuff, or like updating things, changing them. But we usually do a lot of indoor training for our baseball and softball, and I haven't even really pushed on any of that yet this year. And no one's, usually by now people are starting to ask for gym space for it, and they just know that they can't come in to do it.
Yep.
People can come in like with their parents and work on it, but not as like groups or teams coming in to work on pitching and that or hitting. So, yeah, I think it's good. High school's still playing, but if our youth aren't working on stuff for a year or two, we'll see it when they get into high school level. So.
Okay. I'm going to start advertising for lifeguards in December.
Oh.
And I like to have that lifeguard class the end of February, 1st of March. So Waukon, Decorah, Sumner, if you're in need of lifeguards, start advertising now so that we can, because I will not have time to do a class April, May, June. It's impossible. I tried that last year and I about drove myself crazy trying to fit in a last minute lifeguard class to get people up and running for the summer. So I'd much rather do it in January, February, March if we can get pool space. And that's going to depend on what I can get at Luther. So I'm sure Postville will be shut down shortly if they aren't already. So start advertising for your guards so that you know who needs to be certified if you want me to do it. Just an FYI.
Are you going to have your classes smaller this year? Or
Depends on how many people I have. I never know that until I get the applications in. So we will probably run our swimming lessons the same way we did last summer. And we had classes of 5 for that. And that worked really well. The success rate was much higher.
Mhm.
And the parents loved it. The teachers loved it. The students loved it. So we'll probably use that same format this summer. Again, we are restructuring right now all of our private lessons and water aerobics. They've all in the past just run through, you know, the lifeguards set up their own private lessons and they do them on their own time. And our new city administrator wants that revenue run through the city and then we'll pay the instructors. So we're trying to figure out what other pools do. So we pulled up the wage survey that we fill out with Park and Rec and started with that. And then I sent a message out on the IPRA forum asking how other pools handle that. So we're gathering information on those and then we'll be restructuring all of that as well. So.
I guess
That's my
to go off,
November, December. January, we start baseball and softball and soccer. So.
yeah, to go off that, we, last year I tried to do, or this year, I tried to do, like the lifeguards, and the lifeguards have in the past just taken care of their private lessons too. But the board wanted me to do more of, I'm not scheduling them. They're still going to be scheduling them themselves, but we get, like, they charge their fee, but then they also are charged a $25 pool rental fee that they have to pay the city. And it's kind of like, it's just pretty much paying like for the private lessons, but then they're also paying the lifeguard on top of that, so that we still are getting something from it instead of just the lifeguards using it for nothing or whatever. So, and I tried to bring up something like you do, Kathy, and charge them like a summer fee, the lifeguard pays, but they wanted to see more of it coming from the parents to use the facilities and kind of like a rental fee for the pool.
Well, it's a privilege.
Yeah, yeah,
So I get where they're coming from.
yeah.
Callie, do you require your lifeguards to buy a season pass to teach those private lessons to get some money out of them?
No, I just let them, I mean, we never talked about it. It was just and they can't do it. And that was another hard part, is that the board didn't want them to do the lessons during public swim hours, which I get. I mean, but then it really limits the time that they are able to do it, because if they're teaching the regular swim lessons, the public lessons, then it really limits their time that they're able to do private lessons. And a couple of my board members really wanted to get away from private lessons almost, because it was less of a, not less of a moneymaker, I guess, but I guess I don't really know why, but they just didn't really want to do private lessons. They wanted to do more public. And I mean,
Well,
I
it
can
would
see both
force
sides.
them to join your group lessons, and that revenue shows better than private lessons.
Yeah. And then, I mean, it's just harder too to get enough scheduled, but
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
Or try to fit them in a schedule, but we'll see.
I just, from my past experience,
We,
what our city administrator decided on was that as long as the lifeguard paid for their pool pass, so lifeguards never got a free pass to the pool, and as long as the lesson folks paid for a membership, they could go in during and it could only be during open swim. So both entities had to pay to get in, and then whatever money was exchanged between the parent and the lifeguard was the lifeguard's money. But that way you got a daily admission or an additional membership or a punch pass or whatever out of both parties. And then it was just a really good deal. But we never had issues with, we would fill the group lessons all the time, even with multiple offerings during the morning and the night. So that was just something easy to take care of. When private lessons, sometimes the instructor wouldn't show up. And that was and we were trying to collect money and how many times parents want to change at the last minute. Oh, Tommy's sick and I can't make it. Well, then two people have to reschedule through the city and all that. So that was kind of their way to do it. And then that allowed anyone from the general public that wasn't affiliated with the pool that could come in and teach lessons as well on their own. And you couldn't stop it. So that was their solution, and it worked out well.
So if they came in to do the private lessons, they could stay and do public swim too. They wouldn't have to recheck in or anything.
Yeah, as long as they paid admission. So the lifeguards the strict rule was you could not come more than 30 minutes prior to your shift into the facility. So you knew you weren't going to get a lesson in at that time, and they were to be prepping. And obviously they couldn't swipe in and get paid, until a few minutes before their lesson started or before their shift started. But yeah, as long as they paid the daily entrance fee, they were just like any other patron. They could come and go during the day as many times they wanted to, or stay as long as they wanted to. But again, everything took place during open hours. So there was none of this, okay, well, we got some dead time just for lifeguard coverage, because you can't say, oh, well, there's a little bit of time at 9:30 in the morning. Hey, these private families come in with this lifeguard to teach, but now there's no lifeguard on deck or supervision. So it just it was cut and dry. No private lessons take place during swim team, no private lessons take place during group lessons. It was open swim only for those. So it was really clean. I just like the way that it was clean.
Mm-hmm. See, and that's where I struggled too, was because if they weren't teaching public lessons, then they wanted to do private lessons. But when we were done with public lessons, I didn't have a manager there. I wasn't going to keep a manager there just for them to do private lessons, because then I have to pay them, I have to pay the lifeguard to be there, or the manager to be there. But
Yep.
then like, I know in the past, it's been kind of a mess anyways here, but like in the past, they've said that as long as there's one lifeguard there doing their lessons, then they don't need another person. And to me, I just think like, if that one lifeguard is the only person there and there's two kids and something happens to one of them, then it leaves both the kids alone if they needed to call 911
Well,
or.
and who's checking the chemicals during that time? Where's your liability? How do you set into plan your emergency action, plan? It was just a liability.
Yeah.
I mean, because you could say, oh, well, it wasn't quite dusk out yet. We can still be in here. So it's just very black and white, very clean. No different than I never teach a lifeguarding class without a lifeguard on deck. And then people always ask why. I know that's a recommendation, benchmark that we're to teach. But what if the emergency happened to me and it's the first day of class and no one knows how to get me out of the deep end? So, it's just protecting yourself. And I would think your city would want, explaining that liability issue to you, or if you explain that to them, I think that's easy to cover your bases there that way.
Yeah. Well, and that's where I just kind of told them to make it simple, was just to only do it during public lessons. They can't do it during swim team, but if they're not teaching private or public lessons, then they can do it during that time. So, and it really limits it.
Our staff, every staff person had to teach at least 2 sessions of group lessons.
Mhm.
You didn't get the option.
Yeah.
You had to, because so many people would just say, I just want to do private lessons, and nope, this is part of your job. When you're hired, you are required to teach swim lessons. Maybe you're not the best teacher. Maybe you were put on the stand to be the lifeguard because we realized you weren't, maybe the best instructor, or, they didn't necessarily get to pick what level they were at. They gave me choices, what they would prefer, and then I matched them where they were. But everyone went through a 3-day training with me too at every single level. Even if they weren't a WSI, they went through all that training with me to make sure, we appropriately placed them in the best spot possible.
Yeah. I guess too, what is it? Does everybody first, their swim instructors, does everybody have their WSI? Because I don't know if it was last year or the year before, they made up their own swim lessons. It's almost really similar to Red Cross, but then that way their guards didn't have to get certified with their WSI. And I don't know how I feel about it, I guess.
You just can't use the Red Cross name. So
Right.
just like YMCA does their things, you can come up with a lot. I'm a huge supporter of the American Red Cross and the system they have in, but there is a cost associated with that. To use their name and all of that, and to get the WSI certified for them to maintain certification. I know there's other entities out there That recertification's a little bit easier. It's a self-paced. I'm trying to blank on one of those names that's really self-paced that we had at an aquatics meeting, but there are lots of entities just doing their own thing. You can't use the Red Cross name, and you're legit to do that.
Okay.
I think it's harder to maintain quality if they're not certified.
Mhm.
That's
I know
where-
I went over and trained them when Jared first started there. I went over and trained everybody in their WSI, and the comment that came out of almost every single one of them was, I've never been taught how to teach this that way. And so be careful with that.
Mhm. I'm just nervous, I guess, since it's been this way for so long that if I start requiring it, I'm not gonna have enough swim instructors.
Do,
You need
So
one
we have, like,
WSI.
yeah, we have different pay levels. So if you don't have your WSI, you're only getting paid this. And then if you have your WSI, you're getting paid more. So, especially if you're making your instructor pay for their certification, they need to see a benefit out of it, I
Mhm.
guess. And, if they're going to pay a couple hundred, I don't even remember what it costs anymore to get, but they should be getting paid a little bit more than someone who doesn't have it.
So, and like Kathy, like you were saying, you only need one. Is it just the head teacher that needs it for Red Cross, or?
Technically, yes. I mean, I make all my guards, anybody who wants to teach, get their WSI,
Mhm.
but you can get by with one. I mean, I could be the only WSI, but then I have to supervise what everybody is teaching and make sure they're doing it the correct way, which is why I make them all get it, because then I know they're trained to do it the right way.
Yeah.
And if you had one WSI, that person is required to watch every single skill and mark that off. An aide cannot, or an uncertified cannot do that. So it makes it very difficult if you have 5 or 6 classes going on and 5 kids in a class to have Kathy rotate around to every single one and ensure that that kid's checked off that skill. Now, I know that's not happening at facilities. I know people watch from afar. I'm watching 3 kids here. I'm watching 2 kids. Yeah. Again, quality. Like Kathy said, the lower the number in the group, the more WSIs, the success of passing is what I learned to, as a WSI for over 20 years teaching lessons. You just learn some of those things of, wow, let's try this at the level 1 and level 2, so they have the most success to pass on, and kids aren't starting to get bottlenecked at group. It's level 3 now where I find kids are getting bottlenecked because
Yes.
there's just such a huge jump. So every time the Red Cross comes out with some changes, you kind of see where that bottleneck was. It used to be at 2. Now I'm finding it more at 3. So you learn the things to do at those levels prior, and to ensure that that kid has that skill to pass on, so that they're not getting bottlenecked there and frustrated, and then they quit, and then they never even get to that level 3, which is water competent in a swimming pool, not an open, not an open body of water, but at least they're competent, meaning they can tread water for 30 seconds at least and try and save themselves till someone got to them. So it's important to reach those milestones. And the other thing is, it's so much easier if you are a WSIT and can teach the class. So that's really something to put in for your council board members to say, I'd like to require this to get our quality up, but you need to be supportive of me so I can go out and get my WSI, and now I can go to an academy school. And unfortunately, academy schools have kind of been put on hold right now. So people that are wanting it can't get it because of COVID reasons here. But, that would be the next step. It's just so much easier to train your lifeguards when you have that, LGI or the WSIT to get your staff trained yourself. So, it's a good goal for people, because, Kathy's not going to be around forever up there to teach. So someone else, start working towards that. So you guys have that connection. And if you're all close, it's not that every single one of you guys needs it, but a couple of you in that area need it, so you're not struggling to get quality staff.
So Oline didn't open last year. your pool?
Mhm.
Are you planning on opening this year?
Yep, they are regardless of, I mean, unless they tell us you can't, but I don't think they
Right.
will. Yeah, they're gonna open.
Kim,
Thank
are you
God.
going to open this year?
I guess I'm not even sure. Jeremy might know. Let me ask him really quick.
Oh, like old school here. I love it. You need the telephone up to your,
The can with the string.
yeah. 6 feet.
I don't know. I can't hear him through the wall, so
Gotcha.
You can type to him in the chat. Tell him to pull up his chat and you can go back and forth.
I would think we would if we can, but I guess we haven't really talked a whole lot about that. We're just trying to get through winter stuff first, so.
Yeah. Well,
You know-
summer's going to be here before you know it.
Mhm.
So,
I know Longren from Clive is trying to gauge a plan for if they have limited opening. In essence, you really have to plan 3. You have to plan that you're not opening. You have to plan that you are going to open. Then when you open, what does that look like? You're looking at a vaccine with the majority of the vaccine coming out April, May, June, July. So I think a reasonable assumption is that you will be open next year as if you were open in 2019. And so that's if I was on your shoes, I'd be planning as if we were going full steam 100%, because you can always back off of that. You can't try to accelerate it if you're only at 25% capacity. And then suddenly you've realized May 15th, you now have to be ready for 100% capacity. You're SOL. To me, it's easier to bring it up full steam and then be able to back yourself down than to bring it back up after everybody else has got other jobs at Walmart, Target, or what have you, or they're playing you against somebody else. So I know if I was in that boat and I was a director, I'd be telling my staff, you're going full steam. And we're going with the brochure. We're moving forward with it. Just from what I hear from Dr. Fauci on the national scene, even this morning, what they're pushing out, I just see that. I don't see us. I'm going to be honest with you. I know, I don't know if conference is going to be held face to face. I mean, we've done our surveys. People want us to go with it in person, but I don't think we can make it go with 35 or 40 people there and not very many exhibitors. So we may be looking at a virtual event only because the vaccine's not going to be available to the general public until April, May, June, July is what they're forecasting now on a good year. So I think we're going to know a lot more in the next 60 days. Don't you, Kelly?
Yeah. Yes. I mean, once that, yes. Well, here's my thing that, everyone's supposed to behave over Thanksgiving and schools are shut down for a couple of weeks. I don't see them going back to school before January. I mean, I just don't, because so many are shut down right now, at least around my area, Des Moines area. I don't know about you guys in your neck of the woods, but, people are still going to have their Thanksgivings. It's still going to spread. We're not going to have better numbers. But I think the moment that vaccine starts to come out, and if we can all get through Christmas of getting together and hopefully starting in January here, start to see the decline, and I think we'll know more. Yeah, that's trying to be optimistic. I'd like my senior to have the rest of his senior year. So yeah, I'd like my college kid to go back to school in January, and yeah, but we'll see.
normalcy would be nice.
Yeah. I think we're just not even going to know how to act when that comes around. But, I was thinking of all the pools that opened last summer. We really didn't have, we had a few staff that in those close quarters with a couple exposures, but I don't know that there wasn't an outbreak that I know of at any facility. I mean, yeah, we had a few staff quarantine and stuff like that, but I really think we had a safe facility. Yes, you have the whole locker room issue, and depending how everyone's locker rooms are set up, I think that's where the struggle is. If you have people just coming in through your doors. We're really encouraging the showers now. If you guys have not been on some of the aquatic stuff, Kevin Post on the 3rd virtual workshop, really talking about people just cleaning themselves before we get in that water. That's going to be a help too. But really, once you're in the water, not that, I mean, we don't want kids blowing and spouting water, but it proved to be a safe activity for the kids. We did a lot of closing for cleaning of high touch point areas. So unless, I just didn't hear of anything that was really a major outbreak where pools had to close because of a widespread of that. Did you guys hear of any?
No, we had more compliments last year for what we were doing at the pool than I've heard in the past 13 years combined. You know, people, you know, we were concerned that, okay, we're kicking people off the chairs so that we can clean them, and nope, they were fine with it. They understood the reasons for it, and they were very patient with us. You know, we didn't open our concession stand, and we had a lot of thank yous from moms and dads because it was much cheaper to send their kids to the pool. That will be an interesting point this summer when we open up what we go back with. So just because of all the restrictions and everything. So yeah, I mean, what we did last summer worked. So we'll just expand on that and keep going with it.
And I think for those of you guys that opened, it's important to reach out to those people that didn't open, because I know they're going to be anxious to potentially open, is what we're hearing. And they really want to know how it went. How did your swim lessons go? How did lap swimming go? I'm seeing a lot of questions on, did you sign up for time slots using your, you know, ActiveNet, RecDesk, whatever software system you guys are using. And there was a lot that did, and it was super successful, it sounded like. So for those that did open, please share those ideas. Hop on to the discussion board like Kathy was talking about, because there's still folks out there. I hopped on the other day, a few recent questions about what kind of software are you using, or how are you handling this situation? What are you thinking for opening your facility? So I know Afton and Indianola was asking a ton of questions, and she just had not been able to join us on any of our aquatic calls or the fall workshop stuff. So a lot of those answers can be out there, but we're just hoping that members do their due diligence and share, collaborate with your colleagues here so that others can open, start to get on the right track.
Yeah, nobody's out there alone. Callie, you had concessions this summer, right?
Me?
Yeah.
Yeah, yep. Yeah, we just had it was really limited prepackaged items. And it actually, I thought it went really well. And I mean, the last day, I didn't want to get stuck with any leftovers or anything. So we changed prices a little bit on that. But otherwise, I thought it went really well, and it really made it really clear, like, you don't need like a full 5-course meal at the pool. Like,
Yeah.
everybody was so worried that we weren't going to have walking tacos and pretzels and pizza and all that, but it really worked out well. And I mean, this way too, it kind of saved us, because normally, like, we pay our concession stand workers because they're separate from the lifeguards. So I only needed one at a time. And if they were super busy on our breaks for sanitizing and everything, one of the lifeguards came in and just helped and filled in for them. I didn't need to pay 2 of them, because I wasn't needing one person to take orders and one person to be prepping the food. So that part was really nice, where, I mean, it was simple and it was easy. And I mean, I didn't need to worry about training the concession workers a whole lot, besides like the money handling and the communication of everything. But otherwise, I mean, I thought it went really well. And the board too, I don't think I mean, maybe pizza, but otherwise I don't see us really going back to a big menu for.
Can you send a list of what you sold?
Yeah, I can. I'll send it in our email that we have.
Perfect.
Kelly, what would be good when you send that to Kelly or to Kathy in the group is maybe put on there what you did for 2019, all the items that you sold. Okay.
Yeah,
And
I'll
how
try
many
to
staff?
see-
What's that?
I'll try to see, because this was my first year in Sumner, but I'll see if I can find what they used in 2019.
It's just a comparison. That way you can say, hey, this
Yeah.
is what we sold in 2019. I'm going to ask with you, maybe if you know the items, the prices, and ultimately what was your bottom line dollar? Like we sold $1,000, but it cost us $500. We netted a profit of 500.
Mm-hmm.
So you can see whether or not it's worth going, and then look at 2020. What did you sell? What were the prices? And then again, back down to that, what's that net? Obviously, you can't compare them apples to apples because they're not the same thing. But again, that would help each other understand, what are you charging for Snickers? What are you doing for whatever? And is it really worth it? I mean, it sounded like you didn't have any product left over, which is great.
Yeah, well, and last year they ordered way too much towards the end of the year. So there's at least still, I think there's 35 cases of soda and Gatorade down in the basement of City Hall that were left over because they just ordered too much. So, and I did not want to get stuck with anything. So we closed on a Sunday, and it's probably the hottest day of the summer, honestly. We had over 300 people there that day. And I mean, it was crazy busy. And I probably should have I didn't even buy a case of water. I felt like I should have. I couldn't leave the pool. There was not enough people to go grab anything, but yeah, if I were to do that again, I would have bought a couple more cases of drinks and stuff, but otherwise, yeah, we didn't.
I would look at your diet colas at all, because I've heard diet will usually only last 6 to 7 months.
Yep.
The
Your
taste
pops are going to
goes.
lose their fizz.
They're
The
gonna
Gatorades
lose.
will be fine.
So,
Yeah, we didn't use anything that's down there this year. I mean, it's all outdated too. So we
Dump
couldn't-
it and get your 5-cent refund and
I know. Yeah, that's
Or,
true.
great way to get rid of it, a great way to do it is just give it away to the public as a
Well, and
Christmas
some of
thing.
the Gatorade, that's what I did. I gave it to the high school kids
Mhm.
and with their baseball and softball and stuff, I just told them, I was like, this is outdated, but if you want it, here it is. So they took a couple cases, but otherwise it's still down there. And the soda, it'd not good at all. So
Hey, all you can do is put it out on the front steps of City Hall and then turn your back at 5 o'clock and somebody's going to take it.
yeah, that's true.
There's going to be somebody that wants it, right, Jessica? Send it down to Old Wine.
Put it in their Easter baskets.
Howdy.
Hello.
Is there anything else on your agenda that you guys wanted to cover? I see Kathy just kind of stepped away here.
I don't think so. I'm kind of going off of memory. I think we've touched most of it. So
Any of you guys doing the esports? That's been something that's come up in a couple of our last meetings. Vinton did that this summer and had some success. And I did a podcast interview with Ryan. That's on our YouTube channel. If anyone's interested in that, I know they started it and he would be a good source to reach out to. I know there's a question on the member forum about esports as well. That is something that they can gain a little bit of revenue off of. It's not a bunch, but they could, develop their teams and do all that. I don't play video games, so I kind of asked a lot of probably dumb questions, but I didn't get like how they signed up and they, made teams for these certain games and stuff. But it sounds like the kids really went for it and had some good challenges and team competitions and stuff too. So it's something that, probably easier to set up if you know how to do it, but it didn't sound like there was a big money investment with that. And I think Ryan, they did some, if I'm not wrong, I think they did some prizes from around town that they had gotten some donations and stuff as well. And surprising as I'm doing some of these talks, and I know Aaron up in Fort Dodge, they did a scavenger hunt early in the summer. And it's something they had done before, and businesses were still very much on board to do the donations that they had been doing. So not that you want to over ask, but if you've got that relationship and you're used to getting gift certificates from them or some small prizes, those that I've talked to, they've had some success with the businesses sticking with their agreements from what they had done in prior years. So don't be afraid to ask them, I guess. Kathy, was there anything else on the agenda that you guys wanted to cover there? Oh, you're on mute. We can't hear you. You're on mute, Kathy.
Let me try that one more time. I think my agenda is done, but if somebody else has questions that they want to ask, please jump in. Now's the time. Decorah, are you good?
Yeah, I think so. Helpful.
Okay. Kim?
I think we're good here.
Jess?
I'm good.
I do have one thing.
Okay.
I just talked this whole time. But do any of you guys, I know Kathy, you use the gym assistant. Do any of you guys use like Kelly, I know you said you like ActiveNet and RecDesk. Do you know of like any other programs that we could take memberships on for even like our like baseball and softball registrations, anything like that you guys use, or do you just do it all by paper? Or
You can use Gym Assistant for all of that, but I am in the process of signing up for Team Sideline, which is what New Hampton uses.
Yep, and see, and I was hoping Tara would be on, but because I've asked her about it a couple times, and I know they use that, so I was looking into it too. And but then if I Google one thing, like one program, then 15 other ones pop up. So then I was looking into all of them too. So I was just trying to see if anybody used anything else around.
I've used Sportsman. That's what we had in Grinnell, and it does everything from memberships, your passes, swiping in, your time cards for all your employees. Your employees can have multiple. I mean, we had people that were lifeguards, swim lesson instructor, maybe they were working as a cashier, a gym monitor. You can put as many fees in there that, you know, what their hourly rate is. It did all the team stuff. It did adult, you know, league stuff, sends out nice emails with the rosters. So, you know, some of those things do cost some money depending on the, whatever version you buy, but it's a really good investment. And I know with Sportsman, they were able to do the time slots for swimming. So I would log in and do my, they did no more than 4 time slots a week for lap swimming. So I got on, signed up for 4, knew when I was trying to get a 5th one in a week, they can cancel it. You can, it really worked well with the COVID. And that's just what I've been used to as Sportsman. Really helpful. But again, there's a good price tag associated with it as well. But one-stop shopping for me, once I knew I didn't have to do payroll on pencil and paper of people checking in and highlight whatever color per their job assignment, and they could just swipe in with their little key fob, was awesome. Time saving for me. It allowed me to go out and teach programs or be with the kids instead of sitting behind a desk trying to figure out payroll.
Yep. Yeah, I guess I was just looking too for something with like being able to do like shelter reservations in the parks too, because that was kind of a problem this summer. So
I know with Sportsman, you can do it all virtual. You know, you just, everything's out there. You set up your parameters for everything, and people can pay online as long as that's a little coordination with your city office and
Yeah.
all of that. But payments can all be done via credit card, online, debit card, whatever. Shelter reservations. And I assume most of those programs have that now.
Yeah, it's, a lot of them are the same. It's just some things charge more for certain things, and it was just, there's little tiny differences in each one that I found, and I just couldn't pick one that I liked. So I was like, well,
Kelly, is that the one I put in the chat line? Sportsman,
Yeah, I don't know. if that-
Sportsman,
Yeah,
Software, Parks and Rec. And they've been a exhibitor with IPRA before.
Yeah, we have Sportsman and we use it for our registration system. We don't use it for reservations like in the parks or for like the pool and anything, but I know that those modules are available and we've been happy with what we have for registration for sure and with their customer service too.
I don't think they're massive like RecNet or ActiveNet and come up with, a $10,000 annual fee to administer your program. So, they actually take facility reservation. I'm not trying to promote, I'm just trying to share information. Like you said, Callie, that you just trying to figure out what's going on. And like, I know ActiveNet are for larger communities that have that kind of number of people that you can take your fees from. And they do charge a lot of money for that, like ActiveNet and RecNet.
You could, if you're looking at Sportsman, Josh, I think it's Josh and Waukee, they have Sportsman. We met with them and a few others, and I think they might have more than just the registration module. So him or Danae would probably know, but they were super helpful when we were initially looking at systems to take registration. And I think they have, like I said, the other modules as well that we do not have.
yeah, and Grinnell still currently is with Sportsman, so Jordan or Nick and Grinnell do all of those, so they'd be a good resource as well.
okay, well, thank you.
Yeah, and I know JJ New up in Cedar Falls was looking for ideas too, so he posted on the forum discussion page about what was out there. I don't know what Cedar Falls currently has, if he was looking to change I don't know what program he used to use when he was in Iowa working here, but I know he's looking for some questions too. So if you guys either get on that forum discussion or reach out to JJ up in Cedar Falls, and I can get you his email address, or it was in our magazine, and Karen recently here too. So.
So hey, I'd like to give a shout out to JJ too, since you brought him up. So he's a former Decorah Park wrecker here, and went to Iowa and in the master's program there, and ended up going down into Texas and has come back to Northeast Iowa, and is probably about his third week maybe on the job or so, second or third week. And so it's he's an easy guy to talk to, and lots of energy and lots of ideas. And if you're in Cedar Falls, I don't think they've really ever been too active in the IPRA stuff. I don't think I know anybody from there from past conferences or anything, but I know he will be getting involved in a lot of stuff, just kind of knowing who he is. And so I'd encourage you to don't be afraid, just because you don't know him, to reach out there, because he'll have a lot of knowledge, and isn't afraid to talk to people.
It's good to know, thanks.
Yeah, we've had a good phone conversation and several emails back and forth myself with him. So he's really excited to get involved with IPRA. Yeah, someone kind of up in your neck of the woods now too, so.
I didn't really give him any choice, Kelly.
What's that?
I really didn't give him any choice. I told him.
Good. You're muted, Kathy.
You're muted.
I'm watching the front desk too. I'm two people today, so when the phone rings, I have to mute myself. So sorry. I don't have anything else. If everybody else is good, we've been on for a little over an hour now. So, everybody good?
Yep.
All right. Well,
Have a happy
everybody have a good
Thanksgiving,
holiday.
everyone.
Sorry, everybody have a good holiday. Stay safe.